If you've ever tried to be extremely frugal with money, cutting small expenses, choosing the cheaper option, constantly trying to spend as little as possible, it feels responsible. But something surprising can happen when frugality becomes your main financial strategy. The more you focus on minimizing spending, the slower your net worth can actually grow. I design systems for a living, and one pattern shows up everywhere. Tools built for stabilization don't automatically scale into expansion. Frugality is one of those tools. It protects you, but if you rely on it for too long, it can quietly cap your financial growth. So in this video, I want to unpack why I eventually stopped relying on frugality and what started working better for me instead. You skip the $5 coffee, you drive across town to save 0.1 cents. You spend time comparing prices to save 20 bucks. You buy the cheaper version every single time, even if you know it won't last. You cut small things aggressively, but at the same time, you delay investing. You hesitate to spend on things that would actually help you long term. You leave money sitting in savings account because it feels safer. So you optimize for savings $200 a month, but leave $10,000 sitting idle for years. That's not discipline, that's misallocated focus. And over time, it creates resentment. You restrict everywhere. Your quality of life drops. And then eventually, you snap. Overspend, feel guilty, reset, repeat. That's the yo-yo cycle of constraint, not real progress. Instead of teaching your brain how to grow money, frugality teaches your brain how to avoid spending. And that changes how you make decisions. When you're constantly minimizing cost, your attention narrows. You start scanning everything through the same question. How do I spend less? Not what actually moves my life forward. And over time, that question shapes your behavior. You hesitate to invest. You delay upgrading tools that would save you time. You avoid spending on things that improve your day-to-day life. You stay in safe, low-return decisions because they feel responsible. Frugality protects you, but it also keeps you thinking small. And the longer you stay in that mindset, the harder it becomes to shift into decisions that actually help you grow. Because growth often looks uncomfortable at first. It looks like spending before you feel ready, choosing value over price, investing in something long-term instead of minimizing today. Frugality trains you to avoid that. So instead of building momentum, you end up maintaining the same financial position, just with tighter constraints. There's also something else I started noticing. Frugality has a natural ceiling because it's built around reducing, and reduction eventually runs out. You can only cut so many small expenses. You can only downgrade so much. You can only shrink your lifestyle to a certain point. After that, there is nowhere else to go. But growth doesn't usually come from shrinking. It comes from better decisions, choosing something that lasts longer, spending once instead of replacing repeatedly, investing earlier instead of waiting for the perfect moment, allocating money in ways that actually move things forward. Those decisions don't always look frugal, but they often create more progress over time. When your entire strategy is built around minimizing, you stay focused on small improvements. Saving $20 here, cutting $50 there, downgrading one more thing. But those decisions rarely change the direction of your finances, and your life for that matter. They just make the same situation slightly tighter. Growth usually comes from a different kind of shift. Not spending more everywhere, but spending intentionally in the places that matter. That might mean choosing quality instead of the cheapest option. Investing before you feel fully ready, making fewer decisions, but better ones. For example, instead of waiting until you've saved the perfect emergency fund, you start investing small amounts consistently. Not because everything is optimized, but because you don't want your money sitting still while you try to protect the setup. Don't get me wrong, you still need some savings, but don't chase perfection with regards to that. Frugality helps you stabilize. But if you never move past it, your finances stop evolving. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're optimizing the floor instead of raising the ceiling. This is why I started seeing frugality differently. Frugality is useful. It helps you stabilize. It helps you get control, specifically in moments of your life when everything feels out of control. It helps you build a safety buffer, but it should be temporary. Stability and growth aren't the same thing. At some point, staying in protection mode starts holding you back. You keep minimizing, you keep choosing the cheaper option, you keep delaying decisions that would actually improve your finances and your quality of life. Not because they're wrong, but because they don't fit the frugal identity anymore. For example, imagine you're considering a course that costs $1,000, something that helps you improve a skill at work, like data analysis, leadership, communication. A frugal mindset immediately says that's expensive, I shouldn't spend that. So you skip it. You save $1,000. But if that skill helps you take on more responsibility, or negotiate a raise, or a promotion, that single decision could change your income for years to come. Studies on job-related training show that non-formal training is associated with about 11% higher wages, and even informal learning at work can add roughly 3.5% wage gains. So sometimes growth comes from spending once, not minimizing forever. So you stay focused even when you don't need to be. You keep shrinking decisions that should actually be expending. And over time, that creates a ceiling. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your strategy never evolved. Frugality is a great starting point, but it's not a long-term philosophy. At some point, growth looks different. It looks like choosing value over cheap, investing in things that last, making fewer but better decisions, spending intentionally instead of minimizing automatically. That's when your finances start moving forward again. Frugality is often where people start. It builds awareness. It helps you stabilize. But it's not where most people want to stay. Because over time, consistently minimizing starts to feel restrictive. Every decision becomes about spending less, and money turns into something you manage all the time. What changed for me wasn't spending more. It was stepping away from that constant minimization. Less focus on being cheap, more focus on what actually matters. And ironically, that's when my finances and my life started improving. Not because I stopped caring, but because I stopped treating frugality as the goal. If this idea resonates, that's really the perspective behind this channel. Money that supports your life without becoming another thing you have to manage every day. And if you want to see how this connects to budgeting, that's exactly what I talk about Why I Don't Budget video. Because for me, that was the moment everything shifted from trying to control money to designing it so I didn't have to think about it as much. Watch that next.